one of its key characteristics is it's a lot of government money, but pulling together a lot of private investment. Now, we want two things out of that. We want as much Australian involvement as possible. It's a sovereignty thing, but it's an economy thing as well. But we want value for money. Some projects, it seems to be, defence money goes to die. I mean, it's incredible, some of them. Managing those two, is that the tricky part? Is it sometimes not worrying about doing everything? Sometimes we go, no, it's okay to send that overseas. Let's do more of this.
Tom, we can't do everything, and nor should we think that we can do everything here. But what we do, we need to be able to do well. 70-80% of defence spending is on the sustainment, keeping things running, keeping things operating.
That's a massive amount, isn't it?
That's a lot, and that's where we need a lot of that capability. And we need to think in those terms. How do we keep it? How do we keep things going? And how do we pitch ahead? So often too, Tom, we're looking at the high-tech industries and skills we need, but we also need for defence things like boiler makers and welders and things like that.
It sounds
how do we integrate the two?
It's neat, and they're getting more modern, these jobs too, aren't they?
Well, they're getting more modern, but the concept itself is a little bit old-fashioned, I'll admit that. But that's where we've got to. We need to think a little bit back to the future.
Is it a bit parochial on states? It seems to be, at least at a headline sense, every new project is sort of WA's getting this percent and South Australia's getting this and New South Wales wants this.
Defence is very political, you know that, Tom. And
spend a few billion here, you'll keep your seat, or you'll get the seat, or whatever it might be.
You're so cynical, Tom. But that's how we have to think beyond that in a national sense as well.
And when you say think beyond that, can that happen better from a so-called czar, independent from government, rather than the old defence industry minister who's still in cabinet, who's still getting lobbied relentlessly by backbenchers? Is that where the czar role is like, look, bugger the politics, here's what you need to do?
That's exactly it. A defence minister is pulling together the threads, taking it to cabinet, getting cabinet approval. That's a defence or a defence industry minister's role. A defence czar's role, I hate to use that term, but that's the best we could think of because it's what it is to understand the capability of what we have, what we need and how we can best deliver it and get both industry and defence talking and working together.
Just briefly on emissions targets, the states, the union's actually pushing for the federal government to go a bit higher. It says, well, look, the states are going higher and there needs to be something that reflects that. What do you make of the federal government's reaction? It seems to be more along the lines of, we'll figure out what's possible and make sure we hit that target. Are states going too high? Is it a bit of a ideological scramble here? What's going on?
Tom, we've been to this stance before. You may remember the renewable energy target back in the early 2010s and thereabouts, where the states tried to play a game of leapfrog to get ahead of each other in setting targets. It's the worst possible outcome is states sort of setting unilateral targets in a game of one-upmanship.
Okay.
We need coordinated national action. We can't have states jumping ahead of each other. Not great for investment, not great for policy making.
Dennis Willox, got to leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.